According to ESPN's, what's his name? Michael Silverman, I believe. He says that the team, the Chicago Bears, are a little unhappy with what they've seen from Chase Claypool this offseason. I have heard, quote unquote, from a few people inside the building that he is not somebody who's very self-motivated. He said that he's dealing with some injuries. He doesn't really know the playbook. They had higher expectations. Here we are, a year removed from, or not even 6 months removed from the Chase Claypool deal. It's looking clearly well into the Steelers' favor at this point. What was your reaction when you saw that?
Not surprised. I mean, like we knew this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously like know a bunch of people in Pittsburgh, but not like necessarily like within the organization or anything like that. But like I don't live in Pittsburgh. But last year, like before the season, like there was some stuff like really leading back to like the draft. I mean, like it started to really heat up. Like people just saying stuff like, I don't really know how much this dude loves football. Like I don't know who told me or if whatever it was, but I remember like after they took Pickens. I remember specifically someone telling me, and they were like, dude, like we don't know how much this dude really actually likes doing what he does. Like, I think that Chase thinks that he's a better football player than he is, and that he just doesn't really care to get much better. Like, he's just kind of content going out there and just living off of like whatever ability he has. And obviously, I don't know Chase. I don't know if like that's necessarily true. I pointed out that I don't think that he was put in, great situations last year, but at the end of the day, like everyone's talented in the NFL. Like that's the difference between like, even like the college level or, and that jump is like everyone at this level's fast. Everyone's, a lot of guys are big. Like they're really talented. All the guys on the NFL rosters were their team's best player probably for their entire lives. So it's like you can't just continue to like once you get into the league. Chase had some early on success, maybe some that like I feel like got overrated a little bit, like his skill set. But when you get into the league, you have to continue to like stack that and build on your repertoire. And I just don't know that. I don't know the areas that Chase has gotten like much better over from like year one coming in as a rookie to like year 4. Like I thought like when he came out of college, I thought that in the offseason, he put in a lot of work on his releases against press. And I was encouraged by that as a rookie. And then, just like I said, I don't know that I saw like a bunch of improvement over his time with Pittsburgh. And overall, like, somebody saying Joey Porter Jr. for Claypool. Yeah, hopefully that's a trade that looks good for the Steelers. I mean, I think it does right now, just on paper. But just not really surprised overall by the Claypool thing, man.
Yeah, no, not at all. I agree with you. I have heard those same rumbles, and again, I've met Chase a number of times, but I don't know how these guys work. I don't know how these guys operate off the field or what their mindset is. I don't hang out with them like that. But I will say that they're right. Like the Joey Porter Jr. for Chase Claypool thing is looking like a steal right now, just because of the leverage. Like to give up a second round pick for Chase Claypool, a guy that you were basically taking a chance on. Is this guy's natural talent good enough to make him into a remarkable receiver? And I think that it could if he tried, but it's kind of funny that you said that they have to keep improving every year. It's so competitive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm guessing you saw the Tomlin clip that went viral yesterday, him giving the speech about every year you have to realistic expectations of you have to grow. You have to take that next step at all times, continuously on the rise, as Mike Tomlin would say. And that just never seemed to fit who Chase Claypool was. Like his first year was good. I don't blame him for the second year. I blame that as an offense as a whole. Year 3, I don't blame him either. Quarterback situations, it is what it is. Now, if you're in Chicago, like at this point, it's on you. Do you think there's a chance that he gets cut? Did you take that away? Like I heard that, and my thought was like, man, are they saying that Chase might not make this team?
I'm gonna say no, just because they still. I mean, they're a lot better off weapon wise than they were last year. Especially before they traded for him. But with DJ Moore in the building, and they still got Darnell Mooney, but I don't think he's gonna get cut. It'll probably be interesting to see like kind of where he falls in the pecking order right there. I think DJ Moore is the 1. I'd say Mooney's probably the 2. He's a 3, which I've kind of like always kind of felt like Chase was going to be like a really good, like I felt like he was probably going to land on like really good wide receiver 3,
Yep.
borderline like baseline wide receiver 2 type. But the Bears clearly didn't think that. You don't give up a second round pick that is projected to be an early second round pick, and you're just not giving that up for a guy that you think is like, a wide receiver 3. It's just
Yep.
not. And to be fair too, a lot of people didn't like that move from Chicago from the jump, right? Like everyone was pretty surprised that Pittsburgh was able to get that much for him.
Yeah.
Not just because Claypool fetched a second round pick on its own, but like he only had 1 year left on his rookie deal. So like they really only have this season to figure out if they want to keep him long term. He's only cheap for 1 more year too. So that's another reason why I don't think like he's necessarily in jeopardy of being cut, unless there's more to that story in terms of him creating distractions or being a really bad influence for their other players in the building.
Which
They've got a
was
young quarterback that's you got to make sure that you're putting, especially your young quarterback like that, in a good environment. And if Chase is detrimental to that environment, then I think you need to have a different conversation.
Yep, and I agree. And that was the thing when he left Pittsburgh, is there were all these rumors and reports flying around of Chase Claypool was a locker room cancer and you were worried about him and they had to get him out of here because they didn't like the attitude. And now in that report, they say on and off the field issues. And I think that's where it gets a little concerning, where you're just like, okay.
There were players on the team last year that are still here that were glad that Chase was out of the locker room.
100%.
I mean, I don't
100%.
think I don't think, I'm sure that everyone's probably heard that at some point. And that's also like, there were also people that, he was relatively close with. He and Juju have a really good relationship. I'm sure that they probably anymore. Still do. But yeah, there were a lot of players, especially on defense, that were tired of Chase.
We all remember. I think it was definitely reported. We could talk about it. That Minka beat the crap out of this guy.
I don't know if that was reported or not, but I wasn't going to be the one to say it.
It definitely was. I remember that. I remember. I mean, what if we didn't? Whatever. Well, then we just broke.
I mean, it's old news now.
Yeah, I'll get a phone call in an hour. Just like, what are you doing? You can't say that. I'll be like, yeah, everybody knows it is what it is. That was still to this day the coolest practice I've ever been at in my life. But yeah, you could tell that in those interviews after. I remember, and then we'll move on after this. But I remember that when he got traded, I went around and I was asking like, hey man, like, Chase just left. What's the emotions? Blah, blah, blah. And like, everybody was just like, yeah, man, like next man up. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And my mom was just like, nobody cares. Nobody, people are cheering this guy on from the sidelines and they're feeling real good about it.